Welcome to the Mindset Rx'd podcast, a show for functional athletes who want to gain a champ's mindset. Now, today's show is a very, very special one for me because we're going to bypass, by the way, all the usual intro stuff and just get straight into it. It's a special time and it's a very exciting time for me because this is a podcast that denotes the start of the second Mindset Rx'd coaching certification. And you may be a new listener to this, or you may have you may have heard about it before and need a refresher. But today I'm going to be talking to you about the Mindset Rx coaching certification and everything that entails. It was originally developed to train up coaches to keep spreading the Mindset Rx word when I can't, because basically Mindset Rx is growing phenomenally. As you'd imagine, the need for mindset within functional fitness as a whole is growing and growing and growing, and people are thankfully a bit slowly, because this is just the way things work, but it's in reality it's probably pretty quickly getting to grips with the fact that as athletes and human beings we need mindset to thrive. And because of that and the way it's embedded naturally into the world that CrossFit, let's be honest, has created, of that kind of embracing hardship and moving forwards, and people are slowly beginning to realize how much they need mindset in their life and specific mindset training. And my time is getting spread thinner and thinner. So originally this was a way to train coaches up to become part of the Mindset Rx world and begin coaching on behalf of me. So this is like my full training for coaches who want to work in the Mindset Rx world. And basically Mindset Rx coaching certification number 1, or MRCC, which I'll probably start calling it from now because that's a mouthful. MRCC 1 is coming to an end, which means MRCC 2 is coming up, which is exciting because it means a whole bunch of you get the chance to go through what I honestly believe is the best mindset coaching available to CrossFit athletes and CrossFit coaches and functional athletes and functional coaches, because there's not just CrossFitters who have been through this. It's it's the majority, but not the whole of it. So if you already know what this is all about and you're kind of maybe a bit hesitant on the last time this opportunity came about on the last time, then just shoot me an email, tom@mindsetrx.com tom@mindsetrx.com with a subject line MRCC. And if you do that, we can get you enrolled straight away. If you already know exactly what this is, then let's get on board and let's get moving, because there is an early bird discount to be taken if you apply and kind of get your deposit in before July 31st, sorry. So if that's you, then let's get on board. If you don't know what it's all about, let me take you through it. Firstly, who and why, who do I accept, and why do why do those type of people thrive in this environment? So firstly, if you envisage yourself as primarily a Mindset Rx coach, so basically doing what I do, traveling around the world, hosting seminars, or just coaching people online on their mindset, working with athletes on both a one-to-one basis who are very committed, or working in a group environment. If you've heard me speak about the Inner Athlete Performance Camp, you know exactly what this is about. If you envision yourself essentially changing the lives of athletes for the better in a way that starts off athletically and then just thrives in the rest of life and kind of bleeds into the rest of life. If you see yourself as someone who wants to create real change in people's lives, lasting change, because when you change their mindset, or when you change an athlete's mindset, you change everything for the long term, and just having the change on the deepest level possible, then this is for you. And it's a prerequisite whether you want to work for Mindset Rx as a coach or in a wider role, which are kind of coming up, and I'm desperately needing people to take on those roles very soon. So what this looks like is either online, we have Inner Athlete Performance Camps, and we have one-to-one coaching, and that's the kind of the main aspect of this. And eventually, very slowly, but eventually we're going to get coaches running the coaching certification too, obviously with my guidance and my my strict adherence on the rules. But eventually we're going to get that side of things running, but that's a year or maybe 18 months away, maybe even longer actually. But anyway, that's me rambling. So they've got online, and if you want to as well, there's going to be, as we progress people towards and coaches towards the role of master coach, they're going to be traveling, they're going to be hosting their own seminars, initially shadowing under me, but then hosting seminars and workshops. And if you basically want to help athletes become the best version of themselves, this is for you. I'm gonna boast for a tiny bit. What's so amazing about the job that I have, essentially, and the job that I'll be passing on to a select handful of coaches, is the freedom it provides. It provides the freedom to work your own hours whenever you want, to travel, to explore the world, to just opens up possibilities in stunning ways, to be honest. And by the way, this is a very important point to say this. This job, or this course, is no guarantee of a job. This is simply the foot in the door. It's a prerequisite. You have to have this because there's nothing else on the market that will provide the relevant level of training. So there's no guarantee of a job here, whatever, but is essential if you want to apply for a job, if you want to move forwards. And I will be hiring either one or two from coaches from the last Mindset Rx coaching certification, and it's probably going to be the same number from this one too. So we'll see how that goes. The second category of people it's for is for existing coaches and box owners. It comes into two parts for this. Firstly, they want to master their own mindset because they realize as an athlete primarily, partially as an athlete even, and secondly as a coach and a business owner, more importantly, they are limiting themselves and they're self-sabotaging and they get in their own way. They're always busy and they're always doing things to the business, but never kind of get their own time back because they're self-sabotaging. So there's that side of things, and they probably just feel like they're always giving to other people, but you don't get time for yourself, and you're always spinning your wheels as a coach. And this is something I battled with for a long time. Sorry. And it's the big thing that I want to change in coaches' lives. So just getting a grip of exactly who you want to be, and getting a grip of your day-to-day activity, so you're not overwhelmed the whole time, and you really get a good idea of what you need to be doing on a daily basis. And the coaches that have been through the coaching set, let's put it this way, have found new space and freedom within their existing roles they didn't know was there through mastering their own mindset. So firstly, is for coaches who want to master their own mindset, and secondly, and probably just as importantly, if not more importantly, because you can't have this second phase without the first phase, is that it's for coaches who want to pass on mindset to their athletes. They probably get questions or this. If this is you, just kind of listen out for this. You may have athletes coming up to you, or in fact you probably do have athletes coming up to you, whether you realize it or not, talking about things like mindset. So talking about negativity, or you see them expressing negativity a lot, and they might be lovely people, by the way, but they can still be negative. You may have athletes coming up to you talking about pushing harder. You may have athletes coming up to you who just struggling with being consistent and self-sabotaging with their nutrition and their training, and they might be great people, but they need mindset help, and this is something that you can provide for them. The thing that I think, especially for head coaches or box owners, the thing that this provides is it provides the basis for a culture of excellence. And not only a culture of excellence, but a compassionate culture of excellence. One that is going to help your community thrive. And what you create is this really special hub of excellence in every single way, and compassionate, kind, caring excellence alongside that. So this is for coaches too, and especially if you want to influence athletes in the other 23 hours of the day as well, creating let's just say better humans, not just better athletes. And you'll come out of this, if you're a coach, you'll come out of this with not only your own mindset sorted, and of course we're not going to completely flick a switch, you've got decades worth of neurology to change, but you'll come out there with the basics and a really good understanding, not even the basics, advanced knowledge of your own mindset, and you'll understand the path forwards. So you will understand what you need to do for yourself. You'll understand how to coach yourself, but also you'll come out of there with a really certain idea and a definite idea of, oh, this athlete's coming to me with this. This is what he or she needs to do to rectify that. This athlete is coming to me saying, I need to push harder. This is how we're going to do it. This athlete is coming to me saying, I keep on self-sabotaging. I don't know what to do, or I can't get motivated, or I can't find my drive, or I don't know my why. And they're just kind of not quite where they want to be. Or you're working with athletes who want to go to the next level, who just like they can't seem to quite get to the next point. You now know the answer. You know what they need to do, and without any hesitancy or kind of guessing, you refer to the system and you just go, this is what you need to do. And it'll be very intuitive by the end of it. And the side of this that I probably shouldn't negate for coaches, because I know this is something that a lot of coaches will struggle with, is the income side of it. And I'm not going to go too much into this, but there's a few coaches in the existing coaching certification who are going to be running the Mindset Rx system in their boxes, and they're running it as part of their foundations, and it provides and also as personal training side of things. And also they're probably going to run like almost like my version of the Inner Athlete Performance Camp, but in their own box. And this is something that they can provide to their athletes on a like regular basis, and they can allow it to thrive, but also they can create an extra income stream for themselves as well. Which I know for coaches who are struggling to make income, which is a lot of coaches, this is a huge part. And then finally, it's for, well, not even finally, it's the third category of people who it's for athletes who want to completely top up their own mindset, who want to completely just have their mindset on point, and who want to go on a deep dive into mindset so that they can thrive and so they can coach themselves. And so because maybe they're around coaches that aren't quite on top of their mindset, but you as an athlete, want the gold standard of mindset coaching for yourself. And especially in the first phase, you'll get that on, like you'll get it, and you'll get your mindset in a really good place. And then from the second phase of this, which I'll talk about, you'll learn how to get yourself back on track when it's not. So it's for athletes who maybe self-sabotage too much, or can't push hard enough in competitions or in the gym, or just interested in mindset as a whole and want to go and deep dive in this. And you probably heard the importance and like just want all of the knowledge around this in a systemized certain way. And probably, let's be honest, maybe a bit confused about mindset too, because there's so much conflicting information out there, and you just finally want a way that you can move forwards with mindset on a consistent, regular basis. So that's who it's for. Next, let's talk about what it actually is and how it's delivered, because that's a really important part too. First thing to say is this is a 15-week process. It's 15 weeks for a reason. Basically, there are originally 3 phases, and that's condensed into 2 phases, but there's still essentially 3 moving parts. Each one of these takes 5 weeks. It is all online and remote learning. So no matter where you are in the world, this is available for you. So we've got people spread out all throughout Europe in this one. We've even got someone in Australia. We've got someone in the US on this one. And there's going to be, I'm guessing, much more people, or much more diversity. And there's already people booked into this coaching cert, or second coaching cert, who are, again, all over the world. Firstly spread throughout Britain, but we've got someone in the States, we've got people in Europe interested, and we've got someone in Australia interested as well, again, funnily enough. But this is a 15-week process, and it's all online and remote learning. So there's no exact time slots that you have to be on certain calls, although it does help at sometimes. But like it's all able to catch up. So this is all online. This is all remote learning. And as I said, it goes through 2 phases now. It used to be 3 phases, but now I've combined the second and third phase because it's going to be more efficient for you guys, and it's going to be easier for you to keep up with the homework that you get given, because it's going to be about, maybe with the actual learning phase, you'll probably have to watch an hour's content every week, maybe around 45 minutes to an hour, depending on where we are. So that's how much time you have to kind of invest into it. When it comes to delivering the coaching and practicing the coaching, which I'll talk about, it's probably about you'll have your notes already, hopefully, but then maybe about 30 minutes in those weeks. So you're averaging out around 45 minutes per week of effort. So I'm sure you guys can find that in your time. So the first phase is basically you. I take you through a turbocharged, really kind of in-depth and deep dive onto who you are, and it's your personal gain as an athlete. This is essentially not only as an athlete, as a human being. This is a time to master your mindset. This is the Inner Athlete Performance Camp that I run, condensed into a 5-week process for you. And it's 5 weeks to really kickstart your mindset, because most people coming on here, and not everyone, but most people on coming here will have a basic grasp of mindset or will have heard the details. So this is like a chance to chuck you through the Mindset Rx'd process and get you to a very good standard of mindset, or to have a very good understanding of yourself before we go forwards. Because as a coach, or as we go through the next phase, you'll need to understand yourself better so you can provide better perspective, and also understand where you self-sabotage as well, because this is something that we all do. It is that 5 weeks, as I said, is we start off with a very basic kind of where are you now, then we go into goal setting, and I'm not going to bore you with the whole process right now, but basically this is a chance for you to master your own mindset, and it's also a chance for you to remember what it's like to be a beginner. Because when we take athletes through coaching, we need to understand how they're feeling, we need to understand their emotional state, we need to understand their motivational state and what it feels like. We need to remember what that is like, so we have more compassion for them. Just as a little thing that I can remember, Ben, who's currently in the course, and he's probably listening to this podcast actually, and ironically how he found out about the podcast, or how he found out about the coaching certification. He said to me, I learned more about myself in those 5 weeks than in the past 5 years. And for someone who is such a frankly brilliant coach, from what I've seen and can ascertain from the way he speaks and from his experience too, and also such a mature person from his background, this is a huge, I'm proud of it. Let's be honest. I'm really proud of what he's achieved. To learn more about yourself in 5 weeks than in 5 years, that's just incredible for me. So that's the first phase. The next phase that we go into is basically knowledge applied. This used to be phase 2 and 3. Phase 2 was like knowledge, where I just gave you all the information, and then phase 3 would come at the end of that. Again, both the 5-week phases. Phase 3 would be, okay, this is how you apply it. Where I think that this needed a bit of change is now we're going to learn it straight away, apply it, because when you start applying it, you're going to get that knowledge ingrained deeper into your head, so you don't have to like remember something for 5 weeks before it comes around. We're going to take those notes in the first week, really update your knowledge about it, and then bam, apply it straight away, understand everything we're looking for, and go, and like you'll have a much better understanding of it, and you'll learn it as you coach it much better. The knowledge phase is like, so you have complete certainty around not only why that's the case, but also who you're dealing with and the outcome that we get to. And then the other part of that is like a case study. So how do we apply it? And this may sound like we're doing a lot, but it's really, you can take it in your stride if you just keep up to date. And people have dropped behind and come back up, but we can all, it's basically achievable. I set it out so it's not overwhelming. I spread it out a bit more than it needs to be, just so everyone has the chance to catch up. Although it's a fast-paced course, there's plenty of opportunity to catch up in there. So you may have heard me say case study, and it's like, whoa, what's happening there? This is basically a chance for you to coach the subject area. But don't worry about this. We build up to it slowly. We build up to it with basically a generous approach, so you will slowly build out your knowledge, and you'll understand exactly what to do by the time we get there. And the case studies are not people that you're finding, but they're people who like an amalgamation of athletes, or a very like anonymous, obviously a very distinct athlete that I deal with, who comes up time and time again, and we learn to apply what we're teaching. We have weekly group calls. As I was getting to, we have like basically this works in 2-week cycles. So once we get to the coaching phase, or the knowledge applied phase, so you've done your own coaching certification, you've done your own mindset work, you know that very well. And then we go into the knowledge applied phase, which is 10 weeks long, and it works in 5 2-week cycles. In the first week of each cycle, we go through like, this is all the knowledge. Have the knowledge, understand it, understand how to coach it, because they're 2 different things. So we go through like knowledge and coaching, 2 different calls. And then in the week after that, we have like, so in the second week of the 2-week cycle is probably the best way to say it. In that phase, this is a chance for you to coach me. Okay, so we have that. And then every week as well, we have a Q&A call. Because firstly, when you're going through your own mindset work, you'll have questions about yourself that you want specific answers to, and I will essentially coach you. Of course, you have daily check-ins as well, which I'll talk about in a second, but we have like, this is your chance to get really personalized advice on you and what you can do. And then when we're actually in the coaching phase and the knowledge applied phase, you will have questions about how to apply it, about more like, you want more detail about a certain subject area. And this is like your chance to get much more information about that and kind of gain clarity. So you have those weekly Q&A calls as well. And what's really important as well is I talk about these in the call structure. Some people will jump online and watch these live, and other people, I record them and post them so you guys can see each one of these is recorded and available for you to watch as many times as you want, whenever you want. So it's not like you have to be on a call at a certain time, meaning that you can be wherever you want in the world, meaning you can have as busy lifestyle as you want, as long as you can find 45 minutes to an hour a week. We have daily check-ins as well. The daily check-ins are for you as an athlete, or you as a coach, and you as a human being. These are for you to firstly check in with how you're feeling in that day. This is to work on your mindset work, and we'll go through very specific exercises every day. And if you've been through like my Inner Athlete Performance Camp, you'll understand these quite well. But if you haven't, this is a chance for you to really go like head first into mindset world, into the Mindset RX world, and to get a really good grip on your mindset work. So lots of people do online courses and they're not very, I don't know, some of the courses available that I've taken, for example, have no help, no support. But every single weekday, you'll be getting support from me. I'll be checking in with you, and I'll be coaching you and making sure that you're going through this process steadily, and you're making the progress necessary. So there's that side of things. As a kind of general overview, the way we take this, I think it's a good point for you to know, is firstly the 5 phases the Mindset RX system goes through, which is, first of all, we start with a testing phase. So where is your mindset now? So we essentially establish point A. And then we establish a point B with the orientation phase. And this is exactly what we're going to do in the first 5 weeks for you personally. So it's like, okay, first of all, we testing phase, then the orientation phase. So where are you going? Then observation and elevation. So like, okay, how do I get a grip on my own mindset? How do I start to take the action that I know I should be? How do I avoid self-sabotaging? Then we go into sustaining and further elevation, which is like, okay, you've got the tools, you're doing it in this group, but how do you apply it to the rest of your life, and how do you keep it going when you don't want to do it? And like obviously get a bit more perspective. And then finally we get very sport specific. So we apply it to your sport. The reason being it's like 4 parts general mindset and 1 part sport specific, is we need to have the best general mindset possible before we begin applying this on a sport specific basis, because you can have all the sport specific knowledge that you want, but unless you have the general mindset, you're never going to make the progress that you deserve to make. Now, if that sounds interesting, of course, you can, like I said earlier, email me tom@mindsetrx.com with the subject line MRCC. So if this is something that interests you, if this is something like, I need to become a Mindset RX coach, a qualified Mindset RX coach, I need to get this knowledge for myself, for the athletes I work with, or whatever your variation of that is, send me an email, tom@mindsetrx.com with the subject line MRCC. Of course, you guys want to know about price too, because this is a paid course. Let's just like do the straight up price, which is 1,500 Great British pounds. I don't know why I say Great British. Pound sterling is probably the best way to put that. So £1,500. I understand that's a lot of money. Certainly for me a few years ago, that would have been like a huge like outlay, and I wouldn't have had that money there. So what I'm doing is offering a variety of different payment plans options and options for payment. We can generate that and kind of create your own system for paying that. The price itself will not vary. I will not offer discounts on it, aside from one thing you'll see in just a second. I will not offer like discounts on it because everyone deserves the same amount of attention and everyone deserves the same offer, and it's worth way more. Yes, it's expensive, but it's cheap compared to what it's worth, if that makes sense to you guys. So there's a variety of different payment plans options that we can sort out on an individual basis. For example, we've had people paying like straight up if they've got the cash, and we've had people paying over 10 months. Now, I said there was no discounts, but to hold your place early and to get you on board quickly, if you get your deposit in, which is £150 before the 31st of July, this goes down from £1,500 to £1,400. So that, like, if you take action in the next week or so from this publication of this episode, it's £1,400 instead of £1,500. And the start date for this is August the 20th. So that's when we're hitting go, essentially. So again, if that interests you, send me an email, tom@mindsetrx'd.com. So mindset Romeo X-ray Delta.com with the subject line MRCC. And I just wanted to finish with a little quote. And to be honest, this sounds it's very difficult for me to read quotes about myself, especially quotes in a very positive light. So forgive me if I feel a bit kind of bashful about this. But this is a quote from Henry, who I recently asked for some feedback on the course. And he said, being a mentee in the MRCC didn't only enhance my understanding of what makes a champion a true one, how I can help my clients understand the limiting factors. It helped me as an athlete, brother, son, friend, and above all else as a human being to unveil the truth behind my own beliefs and behaviors. Why I was operating the way I was, my stories, my inner critic, my inner athlete. In just a few weeks, my results in and out of the gym will skyrocketed to a whole new level. And no, this isn't gimmicky rah-rah BS. This is for real. He then says some very kind words, but I can't quite bring myself to read them about myself. But he finishes by saying, it's something you have to experience to truly grasp what I'm saying, because to be honest, words alone are not sufficient enough to explain this journey. And whilst I've tried to use words to explain this, and probably to some level, I completely echo Henry's thoughts. He's a coach, by the way. He's been involved in Mindset Rx'd in a few different capacities, but he's if he's listening to this as well, he's an incredible human being. But he's a coach. He's had his own challenges, and he's come out of this as a fantastic human being. I'm really proud of his progress. But anyway, I'm going to try and use words to describe this. Sometimes not very well, but sometimes Henry's words can kind of get across what I'm trying to say. Now, as I said, if you're interested in Mindset Rx coaching certification, email tom@mindsetrx.com with the subject line MRCC, and I'll get back to you with a really good description of the next steps from here. We can even get your deposit straight in to hold your place, or if you've got any questions as well, you can email tom@mindsetrx.com with the subject line MRCC, and I'll be in touch with you almost immediately. Now, I'll speak to you very, very soon, and until then, keep on crushing training, and I'll see you soon.